Hi guys, today I'm here with a Colourpop haul. They recently had free worldwide shipping over $30, so naturally I went on the website and spent $120 because that makes sense, right? But I haven't placed an order from Colourpop in a while and I really wanted to try out some of their new products, so I got some of their single shadows, their pressed face powders, blotted lips, and a couple other things that I have been eyeing. In Canada, sometimes you can get charged shipping. I unfortunately was charged $30 or so in customs, so I was charged $30, which is a bit of a bummer, but the products are quite affordable, so it doesn't hurt so much. But they did send it in like the biggest box ever. Like, I mean, I got $120 worth of stuff, but like, that's not that big. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Kicking it off with their brand new release, which is their Blotted Lips. It comes in two different formulas. So we have the Ultra Blotted Lip, which comes in the same packaging as the Ultra Satin or the Ultra Mattes. And then you also get just the Blotted Lip, which comes in this really nice, sleek little tube. I think that Colourpop is one of the leaders in the industry, dare I say, of coming out with new and innovative products. We live in a bit of a world right now where cosmetic brands are just copying each other and trying to like outdo each other by like slightly one-upping, but I think that Colourpop is killing it by creating interesting formulas, trying new things, doing different things that are affordable in a great range of colors, and I just think that they're doing a killer job. So I was really excited to try these blotted lip products because they're said to be kind of like a stain formula, or like you've literally blotted down your lip, and I think that that is absolutely true. I'm blown away by these. I think they are super interesting, and I think I'm gonna get a ton of wear out of them. So the first item I have here is the Colourpop Ultra Blotted Lip in the shade Doozy. It's really interesting. When you put it on your lips, it has like a really liquidy formula, but then when you rub it together, it almost dries down matte and looks exactly like you had on a more glossy lipstick or a liquid lipstick and blotted it away. I haven't had a ton of time to play around with any of these products, but from what I have tried so far, I've really been enjoying this formula. And then in the blotted lip kind of lipstick tube, same can be said, similar kind of a stain look, but it doesn't go on as liquidy, of course, because it is in more of a cream formula. I don't think that these are going to be drying. They feel almost moussey in texture, if that's the closest texture I can describe. But I have the shade Bee's Knees, which just is kind of this gorgeous warm red berry shade, and I think that it just looks beautiful. It's like that sucked on a popsicle thing, which I don't love saying, but anyways. And then also the shade Drip, which I think I'm gonna get a ton of use out of. This one is a little more neutral, but overall I think that this line is super, super interesting, and if you were curious about if they were just gimmicky or if they're any good, they're really good. I also wanted to try one of their little face palettes. I have purchased some of their blushes and highlighters in the past in the Super Shock formula, and I just did not find myself reaching for them. I really wanted to reach for them, but I just never did. So I was like, okay, this is something I think I can actually get use out of, buy, and use. What a dream. So this one is in the shade Knockout, and it is what I'm wearing on my face today. This is it costs It cost $16, and you get this kind of matte peachy blush in here, which I'm wearing on my cheeks today. Not the most pigmented, but incredibly buildable, which I do appreciate. As long as I can build it up to where I want it to be and it doesn't look cakey on my skin, I'm fine with that, because that means more people of more skin tones can use it. And then the highlight here is beautiful. Super golden, but again, buildable, which I'm totally okay with. I like to have the option. Like, if you don't want to be like glowing like crazy, you can go on with a more fluffy brush, or if you want to do something more intense, you can layer it up or use something more dense. No glitter in here. I feel like I've got a really nice glow going, and it's super warm, and I think it'll be good for travel. I was really scared that this was going to show up broken because I saw some like nightmare Instagram posts, but luckily it arrived alive. I actually have a repurchase in this haul. This was 100% necessary. Every time I went on the website, it was sold out. Like, I would pay top dollar for this guy. I love it. It's such a staple in my collection. I absolutely love the Colourpop lip liners, but I already do own quite a few, so I didn't want to get any more, but I needed this guy. It is in the shade Bound, and it's deceiving because the little tip here makes it look really, really pink, but I feel like it has a very strong rosy brown undertone, and it's the kind of lip liner that for my skin tone works with every lipstick. I love using it with colors that are a little bit too light, like the one I'm wearing today. I have this on as a lip liner. I'll use it all over my lips. I'll do it to ombre. It's just so beautiful and creamy and just the perfect shade. I probably should have bought two. And if you're new to Colourpop, when this shows up, you might be like, can I sharpen this? Yes, you can. I also wanted to pick up some of the new Ultra Satin lips, and these are probably one of my favorite lipstick formulas ever. I think that they give tons of pigment, a matte finish. They have a little bit of shine to begin with, but as they wear down, it's more matte, but incredibly comfortable and creamy. So if you're a fan of liquid lipsticks, but it just drives you crazy that they get really drying, but you want all the other aspects of a liquid lipstick, like this is it. These are magic. When I first bought it, I assumed it was going to be like a liquid lipstick in pigmentation and maybe even in finish, but it wouldn't have the same wear time, but the wear time on these is insane. And the nice thing is, because it isn't as much of a liquid to a matte formula, it's just kind of a straight up cream that goes a little more matte, the wear down is much more comfortable and less, it doesn't give you that same like ring around your mouth that some liquid lipsticks do, so I feel like they wear down a lot better. That being said, the shades that I do have are more neutral, but I'm really excited to try some more bold shades as well. But the one I'm wearing on my lips today that I mentioned on Snapchat the other day, it's just at Samantha Jane YT, and I got tons of screenshots because I knew people were going to be asking because it is such a nice shade. This one is in the shade Calypso, and it's just a beautiful kind of neutrally peachy shade. I'm wearing it in combination with that Bound lip liner. Then I also picked up the shade Rabbit, and this one is a beautiful pink. It does, however, have a kind of iridescence to it. You know how like some products have the pink with like the blue iridescence, which isn't something I would necessarily go for if I had known it was in it, but I don't mind it. I think it looks pretty, not super metallic, not super cool toned. It still has tons of warmth in there, and it doesn't feel gritty by any means. And oh, and then I also got the shade Panda, which is this kind of deep purple shade, but it's not like super deep in the sense that it's a really wintry shade. I think it's a pretty beautiful, versatile shade, and they actually sent me two. So I will link to a little giveaway down below. Super simple, but because they sent me two, I mean, I'm not gonna run through this, so you might as well have it. So be sure to enter down below. It'll be international. And lastly, I picked up a bunch of their single shadows. As I mentioned, I've tried to get down with these Super Shock shadows, and they make great lid shades, but at the same time, I didn't find myself reaching for them, and the mattes I found kind of hard to work with, but I wanted to love them because I think Colourpop is a great company, and I also loved the huge selection of shades. So I decided to pick up some of their single shadows, and they actually sent along with these two little palettes. Not sure if I'm going to make use of them or not, or put them in like a MAC palette, but I thought that was a nice added bonus. I got a little overwhelmed on the website, had a ton of shadows in my basket, and I was like, Samantha, calm down. So I tried to calm it down, but then I feel like I was switching things around and ended up messing up my order, which you've probably done before if you're like in the midst of like panicking while in a shopping cart on a website. But I picked up a whole bunch of matte shadows and then one of their more shimmery metallics, but somehow in the matte browns that I bought, I didn't get like a super warm brown. I'm like, Samantha, like what is your problem? That is what you base your life off of. But anyways, I did get some very beautiful shadows, and it is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I will list all the makeup that I'm wearing down below. But the first shade I have here is Paper Tiger, which I thought was a really interesting shade. It's kind of a mustardy light brown. It'll be really nice all over the lid, on the lower lash line, and through the crease. This shade here is called I Owe You. Again, it is matte and warm, not the kind of like deep chocolatey warm, but I still think it's a really gorgeous shade, and it's what I'm wearing in the crease of my eye today. It has like a little bit of orange to it, which I think is really cool. Bel Air is a little bit more of a cooler toned mid-tone brown, and I thought that this was interesting. I don't feel like I have a ton like it in my collection. I wanted to build a palette that I could travel with, and something that would have a whole bunch of different options that are neutral, and then also some fun pops of color, and this is sort of unique, I think, in my collection. And then I also have the shade Note to Self, which again is a warm brown that could do any number of things, but I just love having a big selection of these, and it's my first time using them today, but so far I've really been enjoying them. They're a little bit powdery, but have tons of pigmentation and blend out really easily. I'm always on the hunt for like a matte vanilla cream shade. I find a lot of them are more suited to lighter skin tones, and they look very stark on my skin, so I need something with like a peachy warm undertone in it, and this looked like it could do the trick. It's in the shade Full Zip. I actually have not reached for it yet, but it does look like it has enough warmth in it. And then I also got the shade Tiki, had to get a yellow. The pigmentation on this one was the most lacking of all of them. It may need to be built up a little bit. I also thought it was completely matte, but it has a little bit of satin in it. I'm wearing it in my inner corner today. I think it's gonna be okay, but not the super impactful yellow that I was hoping it to be. Moving on to some more warm pinky orange shades. Super into that lately. I mean, who isn't? But I have the shade The News. Again, I felt like this was slightly unique to my collection, as it is a little bit more cool tone and subdued, has a little bit of mauve in there, so I thought that this was kind of an interesting shade. And then this shade is Making Moves, which is gorgeous. It's a matte red, but it's not like a true cherry red. So I think that I could totally use this in the crease to warm up a look very, very lightly. I am wearing it today. Actually, I have it kind of in there with another pink shade, but these kind of shades I feel like can be really, really dicey, and reds are very tricky, but this one is well done. On my lids today, I'm wearing the shade Centerfold, and this is gorgeous. It's such a nice kind of like peachy pastel shade. I think that you could use it in the crease. Today I'm wearing it on my lid, and it has a nice amount of pigmentation to it. Something like this is going to be tricky to get a ton of punch out of, but depending on your skin tone, especially I think, I was going to say especially if you have fair skin, it would look really good, but then I was thinking about it on dark skin, I think it would look really good. But I just think it's such an interesting, beautiful shade. And then I also have the shade Oh Ship, which is great. It has a little bit more intensity than the previous red that I showed, a little bit more of a red orange. And then lastly, I have these two shades, the shade Sandbar, which is what I have on my outer corner, down on my lower lash line. I was like, you know what? I'm putting pink on my lower lash line. Let's hope I don't look sick. But I think that this is beautiful. I think that this is such a pretty shade, and I love wearing pinks on my eyes. I have some in my Modern Renaissance palette. I've got a couple, but I don't feel like I have anything like this, and I think the quality on this is beautiful because anything super vibrant like this can be really, really patchy. And then I did get one metallic shade, and this one is in the shade Save It for Later. I haven't tried it, just swatched it, but it does feel really nice and creamy, not gritty, and tons of pigment. So that is everything that I have picked up from Colourpop. I hope you enjoyed this haul. I know I did. I'm even more excited to play around with it now. Be sure to enter the giveaway for the rabbit down below, and if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at Samantha Jane YT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!